everybody. Looks like...
For now.
Yeah. Because it's like... playing some Jelly Roll Morton, whose real name is Fred. To play all these tunes and brothels. Some Ray Charles, maybe. Sounds pretty good to me.
Hey guys, Jenny Conley, Jesus on the Happy Book Dirge. Nice job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for being here.
Yeah. Welcome to the Happy Book. Kind of a weird name, huh, for right now. Before I start, I was going to say a couple things. An hour ago, seriously thought about walking out here, telling you God loves you, and going black. I know that there are a lot of other artists that have decided to go dark with their shows, and I commend them. However, it's important to me that there is never a time that art should go dark, ever. I'm a massive or artistic boycotts. I'm a massive fan of Roger Waters, and I think he's wrong with boycotts. I think that he needs to go to Israel. He needs to play a show, and if he doesn't want to give the money to Israeli promoters, he needs to play in Ramallah. So, at the risk of sounding disingenuous about why I'm doing this show, it goes against everything I believe when it comes to art. Is what I do art? That's a great question, and it's not one that I can answer. But I think that for me, that's the wrong move, and it's the wrong move every time. Before I start, there's a couple of things that I wanted to say to address that. So I want to make sure. Well, you know what? First, I want to say Tom's Psalm of the day. My friend Tom sends me psalms and biblical passages that I think are always pertinent. This is Psalm 64, 6 through 9 from the New American Standard Bible. They devise injustices, saying, "We are ready with a well-conceived plot. For the inward thought and the heart of a man are deep. But God will shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they will be wounded, so that they will make him stumble. Their own tongue is against them. All who see them will shake the head, and then all men will fear, and they will declare the work of God and will consider what he has done." And, my friend Tom, though I was raised, pretty hardcore Irish, Lebanese Catholic, always gives me something that sort of brings me back to my faith. And in these times, I hang on to my faith. And people can be, well, that's just ridiculous, Jerry. Religion is the opiate of the people. Fuck that. It's important to me. It's important to my sense of history, my familial history. I think that, and I wanted to make sure that I got this right, Tariq el-Tayeb Mohammed Bouazizi. I'll say it again. Tariq el-Tayeb Mohammed Bouazizi. He was a vendor in Tunisia and relatively educated. And he decided that the most important thing that he could do was to light himself on fire. George Floyd did not choose his martyrdom. But Tariq, at the time, he could not have known, and neither could Mubarak in Egypt, neither could Gaddafi in Libya have known that act was going to bring down half the dictatorships of the Middle East. And, pretty quickly there were 1 million people in Tahrir Square. Charlie Freeman and myself were in, I'm going to say it wrong because I'm nervous, Taksim Square in Istanbul during the riots there, or what we thought were the riots, and then we were in the middle of all of this stuff, and all of a sudden everybody just left and they started going home. We're like, what's going on? They're like, it's dinner time. And as I said, George Floyd didn't choose that. And my son, Judah, has been crying off and on for 2 days when he finally understood what "I can't breathe" means. And, he's got... It's very important to me to not sit here and try to pitch my geopolitical international cred, nor my black cred. I'm a white-ass guy. I'm from La Jolla, California. But for my son, "I Can't Breathe" resonates strongly because that would include his brother and nieces and nephews. So I have this tendency to get off point and to get off message. As anyone that's followed me for a while, you know that a lot of my interests tend to be geopolitical. And when I start to talk about, well, what about ICE and what about deporting, Mexican fathers and mothers to certain execution in Honduras and El Salvador, my wife Terry has been very enlightening and clear to me that you can't get off fucking message. We are speaking to almost 500 years of institutional racism in America. And for today, Black Lives Matter, and that's fucking it. Not your Mexican life, not your gay life, not your trans life. As important as those things may be, the moment now is a singular focus about institutionalized racism. And if we don't speak to that, then we can't fucking speak to anything. And so I want to thank my wife. I want to thank Terry for 2 days of battle about that, because I'm a big, what about refugees and and she's right. She calls bullshit. And this is the tipping point. This is what got people into the streets. They need to stay in the streets. I suppose if you're watching this, means you're not marching unless you happen to be walking across the Burnside Bridge watching the Happy Book on your handheld device. But we're at this moment. We are at a moment where we are clearly staring down the barrel of fascism. I believe wholeheartedly that Donald Trump has never had any intention of anything but a quasi-fascist dictatorship. And I don't say that as a bleeding heart liberal. I say that as somebody that has been in fascist states. I've been to Maj's house. No. Fascist states. And, I've been in countries immediately before the revolution, during the revolution, and immediately after. And what I know, and there's very little that I know, but the little that I know, one of the things is this, that revolution, and when I see people, this is our time, this is revolution, and whatever, you have to realize that by picking a side, and don't get me wrong, I advocate that you pick a fucking side. You are either fascist or you're anti-fascist. You are either I'm a Trumper or you're Antifa. And you need to remember that what that means. I mean, something like, I'm a Trumper, I think it's pretty clear, your manifesto. I think Antifa is a little bit broader, and we can all kind of pat ourselves in the back and go, I'm anti-fascist. That's great. But if the President of the United States actually puts the American military against the American people, and the American military becomes the enemy, the police become the enemy, I would tell you 100% that ICE is the enemy. I would tell you 100% that these right-wing militias are the enemy. If we ever get to an election and you decide that I'm not going to vote because I think Joe Biden is a creepy old man that fondles people's hair, it makes you the fucking enemy, because you're just allowing another vote for Trump. And I know I'm going to get a shit ton of heat for that, but I believe it in every bone in my body. I'm not sure that we're going to get to an election. I'm not sure that we are going to have a chance to exercise our democracy and the rights that are inherent to that. But I think that you need to remember that as we pick a side, that there will be horrors and atrocity on each side. And, in my life and as a young man, I was a big supporter of the IRA. I was a supporter of the PLO. I was certainly a supporter of the Sandinistas. And I could list for you the atrocities committed by the side that I supported. And it got him to the table. Jerry Adams has a parliamentary seat. Yasser Arafat went to the United Nations. Danny Ortega, the fascist that he's become, led his revolution. Somoza fled. And we could look at hundreds, if not thousands, of things that any of those organizations did that were horrific. Blowing up buses full of kids. You go for Palestinian rights, and then the next thing you know, they blow up a disco full of teenagers who are trying to learn how to get a date. And I think it's important to remember, as we pick these sides, I was talking to a good friend of mine driving over here asking about whether I should play this show, and then talking about a lot of these things. What about Antifa? What about the relationship between Black Lives Matter? And she said, I'm against violence. She said, I'm whatever is nonviolent. And I disagree. I think that people that know me well would know that Jerry Joseph is anything but a pacifist. And I don't believe that you come to the table silently marching. So on that note, I'm going to play my show for a little bit shorter of a time than usual. And I never know quite how to articulate what I think. I'm a Malcolm over Dr. King. I don't think that Dr. King or Mahatma Gandhi, I mean, they may be two examples of non-violent revolution, but that's very rare, and many people died in that process. So when people are hitting the streets, I think that at the moment you say, well, what about the riots and what about the looting? Fuck you. It's you're putting property above human life. And 400 going on 500 years of systematic racism and the rage that is in every fiber of Black America. I think your fears of a burning Starbucks is moot and selfish. So I don't. When I do fundraising, I try to do one of two things. Either one, I try to raise money for the greater family. That means people associated with us with health issues. Or I've tried very hard to raise money to things that I'm active in. So if I say, send me money to raise to buy guitars to take to the Syrian border or Afghanistan, I'm only going to do that if I'm delivering the fucking guitar. And I don't, Siri's talking to me. What does that mean, Dex? Why is Siri talking to me? She says, you're a terrorist, Jerry. Really, Siri? So I do not have a specific nonprofit that I'm doing this show for. It's my job. I think it's important to do the work, to show up. If you would like, I think you could go to 8can'twait.org. That's 8, the number, can't wait, lowercase together.org. Decrease police violence by 72%. Go there. Do your research. And when I see a lot of these musicians saying, we're going to go dark this evening so that we can reflect and study, like, more power to them. And you should reflect and you should study. That all said, call me a little egomaniac dwarf or call me whatever you wish. I'm going to make music because it's the only fucking thing I know how to do. And I'm going to start with this song that was certainly by no means written as a... Dex, am I in tune, buddy?
Nope.
I turned around. I thought Dex was here, but then I realized he'd left to march. I'm going to start with this song. I'm going to start with a quiet version of it. And we're going to do sort of a shorter show. And thanks for tuning in. And if you have issues with me playing this show, then I urge you very strongly to let me know and tell me why. I get so many goddamn death threats from Southern crackers that hate fucking whatever I'm doing that I would welcome your intelligent and informed opinion. And can I take the black scarf off now? You can hear it coming like a wave out of control. Surely leaves you wondering exactly where the water goes. Screaming at the captain. He's been deaf 100 years. Now the whole damn crew is clapping as he grinds through every gear. Go to grab your nerve, you find that it's been missing. Seems you lost your faith in everyone you know. Well, I certainly hope you don't plan on winning. Let's start paying more attention to the ones that throw you clear. You are seconds from the impact, moving way too slow. Hey now. Love has always scared you, like the monsters under your bed. And baby, we can't fuck for money like the other junk is dead. Look around my room and I find the paint is peeling. My reflective skin is falling on my bones. Well, I must admit, I know just how you're feeling. We'll grab each other's dollar. We can rise out of the water. 'Cause you know as well as I do, it's no good to die alone. After all that I've been through, you're the only one that matters. You never left me here in the dark here on my own. No. I hear your water rising, baby. Let me be your ladder. And I promise you'll be dry, never be alone. Climb to safety, everyone. Climb a safety ride. Every goddamn time. I got Luke, a trained detective, and he's calling out my name. There were dragons in the sky, and they were calling out my name. And all God's little angels calling out my name. I said, Jesus, can you hear me? Calling out your name. Hear me. Head down to the river with your rod. And all that is not good will certainly be all God. Better make my presence felt by all the ones you thought that you destroyed, yeah. And angels and devils, well, they are the ones that bring us back joy. Help me, baby. Help me, child. Hey, yeah, time will surely mold you into something you don't like. Get you running, 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 running like a rabbit. Put your finger in the dike. I call you on the phone, tell you that it's Kuthal. Put your fingers in your ears for your head explodes. I get been there, it'll roll along as usual. We must grab each other's collar. We can rise out of the water, 'cause you know as well as I do, it's no good to die alone. God bless George Floyd. And after all that I've been through, you're the only one that matters, yeah. You never left me here in the dark here on my own, yeah. I hear your water rising over, let me be your ladder, and I promise you'll be dry, never be alone, yeah, yeah. After all I've been through, you're the only one that matters. Mama, you never left me here in the dark here on my own. Mama, I can hear your water rising over, let me be your ladder. Mama, I promise you'll be dry, never be alone. Kind of safety, right? March to safety, right? Fight for safety, right? Love to safety, baby. Baby, 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 baby. Hey. Thank you so much. What's that song called, Dex? I can't remember. It's a great one though, right? It's a Panic song, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to do cool covers, and so I thought that to do a cover-wise for Panic would be awesome. Um, this is a song from my new record. Should I just be a fucking dick to try to promote a record on a week like this? I wrote this song. It's called "Dead Confederate," and I don't generally write character songs. I'm a massively self-absorbed Napoleon complex dwarf who really wants shit to be about me. Me. Well, it's true. You know, my heart, my feelings, my politics, my dick, my love, whatever it is, it's usually about me. And rarely I write character songs. Those of you that know me know that, 10 Killer Fairies. I'm in love with Hiram Black from the new record. And this one, where I was trying to write from the point of view of a Confederate statue being torn down. For a kid raised in La Jolla and living in Portland, Oregon, I'm pretty connected to the South. My career, my friendships. For many years, I was just infatuated with Mississippi, and I still kind of am. People say, "What's your favorite state?" I'm like, Mississippi, just like Nicaragua might be one of my favorite countries. Like, darkness, lightness. Can you say lightness? And I know I'm talking a lot, but you know what? It's my show. So, I just told you that I don't think art should go black. I don't believe in censorship or the rewriting of history. I very much believe that the Confederate statues in America are nothing but a symbol of hate. I don't think that they represent antiquity. I don't think that they represent the rebel cause, even though I wouldn't wipe my ass with the rebel cause. I think they were put up during the Jim Crow era, primarily from groups like Daughters of the Confederacy, to remind black Americans who the fuck was in charge. It's in the middle of the square so that black Americans don't forget the sentiment of a goodly portion of the people around them. Let's be super clear, as I'm talking about the South, that the largest chapter of the Ku Klux Klan in American history was here in Oregon. And we, by the South, they don't get all the points for racism. I travel. I would tell you that racism and genocide, and it's a common theme among humans around the world. But for the point of this song, I was writing about those statues. Patterson Hood, who was raised in Alabama, produced this record. Jason Isbell, who was I think raised in Alabama, plays on the song, as Bobby Matt and Brad and Jay Gonzalez and all the guys in the Truckers, Mike Cooley. The problem with writing character songs is I feel like the point of writing a character song as a songwriter is to actually make the character believable. The Confederate statue is not going to sing a song about being a racist fucking douchebag and I'm a dumb fuck and you should tear me down. He's going to write a song about himself that with some sense of pride. And, I get back to my wife, Terry, she hates this song because she says you feel empathetic for the statue halfway through the song. I don't know what I think about that. I've had writers that I love very much giving me accolades as far as this song being one of the great Southern songs. But then again, I'm singing this from Portland, Oregon, where I live. Dead Confederate comes out as a single in a couple weeks, and months ago when we were like, what should we be doing for the video, and it's just scripting itself. these fucking militias in Michigan and here where we live and their Confederate flags, the Statue of Lee coming down yesterday, it's writing itself. I'm hoping this song speaks to the current environment because many, many things come out of that war and the Civil War. And if you want to talk about race relations, you know, we could go back 400 or 500 years, but the South's influence on the rest of the United States, you know, Heather Cox Richardson, who I follow heavily on Facebook, and you can follow Heather Cox, C-O-X Richardson, has a great book called How the South Won, and they won. Those red states are in the Senate are dictating the political growth of my children here in Portland, Oregon. And Donald Trump, he knows where his fucking bread is buttered. And that's what he's talking to when he says, I have vicious dogs and thugs are rioting. It's all about a fucking racist government. And it is nothing else. And I can see a couple of my friends going, oh, no, it's not, Jer. Fuck that. It is absolutely what that is. And this song is called Dead Confederate. Alabama, Alabama, heat lightning from the neck, and all I see is project housing, chicken bones and broken bricks, standing. I've been standing best part of 80 years. Hey, I've been planting hoods and ropes and local cheers, fighting. We were fighting, and our namesake killed for Southern gods. Dying, we were dying. Lucifer's divining rod, selling. We were selling the bodies of black boys and girls, yelling. We were yelling. Rebel yell heard around the world. Hey now, baby, I'm a dead Confederate. 80 years I stood my ground, and I ain't sorry, I ain't regretting it. Now they're trying to tear me down. Hey now, baby, I'm a dead Confederate. Rebel pride, heart of stone, and I ain't worried, I ain't sweating it. Wish they'd just leave me alone. Yeah. Alone, yeah. Alone, right. Snowflakes, August snowflakes, falling here in Birmingham. And I never claimed to think too deep. And I never said I understand. Swallowing my granny pride, they haul me out to gravel pits and forget that I lived and died. Smash me up to chips and bits, and buying and selling humans was good work if you could get it. Where the South could build great pyramids and rise up if you let it. Oh, but they shine their light of righteousness upon my unclaimed darkest deeds, pulling up my withered roots, poisoning my righteous seed. Jesus was a white man, and he promised we could rule. So we burn his holy cross in honor, hang the Negro and the fool, and baby, I will rise again out on Highway 29. In the meantime, I join the earth and bide my wicked sins of time. Hey now, baby, I'm a dead Confederate. 80 years I stood my ground, and I ain't sorry, I ain't regretting it. Now they're trying to tear me down. Hey now, baby, I'm a dead Confederate. Rebel pride, a heart of stone. I ain't worried, ain't regretting it. Wish they'd just leave me alone. Yeah. Alone. 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 It's called The Happy Book, Jenny.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what we called it. That's Dead Confederate. My new record, The Beautiful Madness, comes out August 21st. Here's a song. Here's a song. Speaking of Southerners that I love dearly, I had a band with my friend David Schools, and originally the band started, we were a duo. We did a tour of Europe as a bass guitar duo. And then it became an official band. There was Wally Ingram on drums, Eric McFadden on guitar. First it was Donnie Druk from Berlin on keyboards, and then it was Danny Lewis. And this song was on the first record. People were mad. Mississippi people were mad because it was talking about the fucking Rebel Grove, and seems like a long time ago. I was, I don't know if my kids are watching this. I was incarcerated for a long time in Provo, Utah, and it's right next to a place called American Fork, where weirdly, 20 years later, I saw the most radical Rage Against the Machine show that I've ever seen. And Rage was supposed to play in Salt Lake City, and they decided that they were banning the concert because of gang activity, so they moved it to this rodeo grounds in American Fork, or Spanish Fork. One of the forks. I've been to a lot of crazy, been to some weird shit. But this was Rage in a rodeo grounds, and it was me and I can't remember his last name, but one of the big Salt Lake City music writers. And we were standing, there's Rage walking on stage, and behind us was about 250 riot police in full regalia. And Rage takes the stage, and Zach De La Roca says, they moved this show because they worried about gang activity. And he goes, how fucking crazy is that? He goes, as far as I'm concerned, the most dangerous armed gang in the world is the American police force, who are standing 5 feet behind us. And they open with fuck the police. Me and Bill thought we were toast, but what they did was they were called to stand down and evacuate the premises. So the police left, and Rage played this entire show. It was one of the more amazing shows that I've ever seen. And then just busted the shit out of everybody as they left and busted heads. Rage Against the Machine is always a weird one for me because as much as I love their politics, they were also on Sony the whole time, So it was like, what's the revolution here, you guys? But I wrote this song. This is called American Fork. Tune this goddamn D string. Pull another page from adult cartoons, chuck it up the tail in Istanbul. Red state Christians need breathing room. Put the bodies in the barrel of the pork they pull. Even Adam and the KKK. Down another bourbon in the Rebel Grove. Hard to get a handle on your evolution. A Bible up your ass and your face in the stove. Hillbilly hell in the Patriot Act, smothering the airwaves in vitriol, industrialization of the little brown babies. Hope you got a bonus for the soul you sold. Enemies of state and the pregnant teens, put them in a cage in Guantanamo. Active resistance to Bill of Rights, are buried in a bunker, New Mexico. And you raise your hand, your American fall, your sweaty little hand, your American fall, your American pride, you're an American. Get the weather, man, what the morning, honey, in the mountain. Hey, a special revolution talking animal rights while the prom queen straps on a C4 belt. Throw up another settlement the middle of the night. Tell the world about the pain you felt. Political asylum for the puppet regime. Wrapping up the Indians in TB sheets. Globalize the market till they're on their knees. Send another peasant out to kiss your feet. You raise your hand, your American fall. Your white bread little hand. And your American fall. Your American pride. You're an American. Hey! But I got you too, baby. Clear the channel for the next bling bling. Sell it to the kids with a strap-on dick. Ayatollah's versus Coca-Cola. Drink black water while the blood runs thick. Crucify the market on the MTV. Real world, baby, and reality bites. We're running down the SUV with SUVs. Out of medicine, the quarter's tight. Raise the flag, that'll get you into heaven. A medical monkey on a cocaine jet. 1001, are you prepared to call it even? Bodies at the throne where your master sits. A miracle potion, a miracle life. Gotta take a look at your credit line. An American fork and an American eye. Shoot line of blood and we're all out of time. Yeah. Raise our hands with our American fall. A pudgy, greedy little hand with our American fall. With an American slice of our American pie. And I raise my hand, yeah, my American flag, my selfish little hand, and my American flag, my American pride. I'm an American, yes I am. An American. Thanks to David Schools for helping me write that song. That time in his career, that was a badass move, and I've always respected the shit out of him for it. Okay, you guys with me, or have we bailed? Have we bailed on the whole Jerry Joseph thing? I understand. This one has another story. I'm gonna bring up one of my heroes in this world.
Oh, shush.
I'm serious. You're a badass, a musician and fighting cancer and all the shit you've done. I think it's tough as nails.
Thanks, Jerry.
I really believe that.
Not tough, but I do feel excited to play some jams.
I was kind of making this mental list of, for my daughter, Anjali. Anjali's 7, and thinking about badass women that I know that Anjali needs to be near. I think just by osmosis, some of that badass womenness drips on the children, you know.
Oh, so. Yeah. Your wife's pretty badass, too.
My wife's pretty badass, too. Unfortunately, she can kick my ass, and I'm scared a lot of time. I just kind of all right, so you could say, fuck you, Jerry Joseph. What do you know about black issues? And you would be right. However, I was living in Harlem the night that Obama was elected for the first time, and Terry and myself, we were on 125th Street in Adam Clayton Powell. There's kind of a plaza thing there on the corner, and maybe there were 2,000 people when we first got there. They were broadcasting. CNN was on these big screens at Adam Clayton Powell, and not a whole lot of people, but they were on this side of us was the musician John Legend. That would have been creepy if it was John Lennon.
Wow, Obama's
Whoa, Obama bringing the
Is God.
Beatles back. Fuck yeah, Obama. John Legend. And on this side was this teeny little black woman. And she kept saying, isn't this remarkable? She goes, I'm 85 years old. She said, the first half of my life, I wasn't allowed to drink out of the same drinking fountain as a white person. And she goes, and look at us now. And she kept saying, isn't this remarkable? And then CNN calls Ohio for Obama. Boom, now there's 5,000 people. And I've been to some crazy places in my life. You know, the first democratic elections of El Salvador or whatever weird shit I've been in. And the feeling right then, this moment right then, and when they actually said CNN calls Obama the next president of the United States, and this little woman, and I'm a little guy, and she was like half the size of me, and so it was this thing. Obama wins, and there was a Catholic church. I had just gotten sober, and there was a Catholic church on our corner, on the corner of 125th and Morningside. And you ever hear the story about Lex like wiring it up with mics and stuff for Judah's baptism? We have great New York friends. Anyways, there was this little again. He was sort of a diminutive priest, Father Kelly, and he was a Irish white guy. And St. Joseph's congregation was primarily an African-American congregation, except for 4 people, me and Terry and whoever I think they were from Spain. So we go to Mass, and it's my first time back in Mass in many years, and you know, the priest does, Father Kelly comes out, and then there's a choir. There was never a black choir in my La Jolla Catholic Church or my Lebanese grandmother's Catholic Church in East LA, or the music always sucked. But this time, there's a choir, and they're singing, He's an on-time God, He's an on-time God, may not come when you want Him, but He'll be there right on time. And Father Kelly and the procession of people with their things, and they go around the church, and they get to the front, and Father Kelly gets to the front, and he looks at the congregation. The congregation goes silent. Long time of silence, and he looks around, and he goes, looks like God came on time Tuesday night. Can I get an amen? And boom! This church explodes. And then he started pointing. He goes, Mrs. Ebenezer Johnson, march with the Reverend in Selma. Stand up. Mrs. Robert Smith, march with the Reverend in Montgomery. Stand up. And these women start standing. And these are little old women, just like the woman that I was with on 125th Street. And it was one of the more remarkable things that I've ever seen. So, kept me going back to church. And we need to remember that stuff, because 51% of Americans woke up the next morning and said, oh my God, we finally evolved. We have a black president. It's important to think about the 49% that said, what the fuck is the new president? And then I could use racist, well, you know what they said. And they were angry. And they're still fucking angry. And I don't think there's a come together moment here. I don't think there's a point where we sit down and we all come together. Even COVID-19 didn't create that moment. So you need to gird up, because these people are angry, and they're stupid, and they're heavily armed. And I know that's not the olive branch of peace and love. Anyways, later that night, my friend Brett Mosley, who's one of my favorite musicians and humans in the world, he now lives in, well, he was living in Fremantle, Australia. We went and did some shows with him. Now he lives in Denmark and New South Wales, and recorded this song called Charge with Stephen Gary Jesus. Can you see Stephen Gary Jesus?
I'm here.
What was that, like 6 minutes sober, and we went up to What is that town called? Catskill?
Hudson.
Ah!
Yeah.
What was the name of the studio? Soul?
Old Soul.
What?
Was it Old Soul?
Old Soul Studios. Chris Whitley had recorded there, and we went and we made this record. Brett, Dex, and myself. And first song we recorded was this one. And it just came up for me the other day on Spotify, and you know, I could usually give a fuck about my own songs, but every so often there's one, and it hits me, and this is one, and this is called Charge. I don't know if you're there, Brett Mosley, in Australia, what the time it is in Denmark, but Australia. This is for you. I love you. Okay. Powell and 125th. We are here to boast our victory or slit our little wrists. Century revolve around rage and pride and shame. Well, the ground can't shine much brighter than the marks we leave in flame. We must charge. Hey! We'll stay up for facing the enemy within, with blood and bones and organs, not the color of your skin. Speed or indecision, the choices that we make, we can gas it into overdrive, slam down on the brakes, and we can charge up and down the boulevard. We'll hear the benediction as it slants into the yard. We can charge. Your papers have been served. Did you really think you're gonna get the justice you deserve? We can charge. Hey, my neighborhood messiah wants another cigarette. Well, I love him like a brother. I have not learned to like him yet. Well, he says he's got a main line or secret routes to grace. Do we sign up for the Kool-Aid? Are we running in the race, or will we charge? We're blowing out the doors. We're offering an olive branch wrapped up in C4. We can charge. Push the plunger in the box, and we sail out in the sunset, or we crash it on the rocks, and we can charge. Hey, now. Sure. Well, you seem to have an answer every time you speak. If silence is a virtue, does that mean your morals weak? Everybody has a moment, and this one's gonna pass. Will you raise your fist and saber? Will you sit back on your ass and you can charge? We're asking for the cash. We're a little bit embarrassed that we even have to ask, and we will charge. We'll credit your account. If you really think the shadow's gonna hide the body count, that we can charge. Yeah. Well, the bells of St. Joseph's are ringing through the night. They're laughing and they're weeping and they're bathing in the light. Well, I'm standing on the morning side with St. John the Divine. Either sunlight or explosions, at least we're gonna shine, and we will charge. We're giving you the sword. Can't blame it on the devil, or give credit to the Lord. Yeah, we can charge, and you're gonna win the crown. Don't tell us that it's up to us, we'll only let us down. Yeah, we will charge up and down the boulevard, from the kitchens and the closets, gonna hit the concrete hard. Yeah, we will charge. Well, a victory tastes sweet, well, you're gonna find out quickly, 'cause it's spilling in the streets, and we will charge, yeah. Charge, yeah. Charge, yeah. Charge, well, you bad. Charge, yeah. Charge, holy. Charge, yeah. I know that. Charge, yeah. Charge, yeah. Charge, yeah. Charge. We will charge. Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. We're just gonna do two more, really. And there are a million Bob Marley songs that would be apropos. But I've been listening a lot. Well, yesterday was Curtis Mayfield's birthday, and so I had ordered Curtis Mayfield vinyl, and I've been listening to him quite a bit this week. And then yesterday, Andrew Mount, the person that keeps track of these things, posted that it was Curtis's birthday. Who knew? I didn't know.
It wasn't in my birthday book.
It was not in my birthday. And my friend Dave Prashant has a really great radio station in Salt Lake City, and he plays super cool music. He suggested this Curtis song, so I'm picking the Marley song because I know it, and it's an F sharp, which
It's just a half step from Curtis's.
right?
It's really close.
It's right there, right?
Yeah, super close.
All right. So
Maybe the same era too, right?
actually, probably was. I think. Well, Back to the World was early '70s. I saw the Wailers when I was a kid. That was '76. Last time on Vibration. So yeah, it was probably the same time. I wonder if they knew each other.
Maybe.
I bet they did. All right. Rastama, vibration, yeah, positive. I am my vibration, yeah, positive. I react, vibration, yeah, positive. A positive vibration, yeah, positive. When you get down and you cry every day, you're saying prayers to the devil, I say, yeah. Why not try to help one another on the way? You make it much easier, a little bit easier. You just can't go on that negative way. You know what I mean? Make prayers for the positive day, because there's a new life, new feelings. It's a new time to stop believing we're here for a new day. Day, yeah. Always stepping up, always stepping up now. Yeah. We're stepping up, always stepping up now. Jah love, protect us. Jah love, protect us. Jah love, protect us. Mama tell you wanna get my love again. I know that I'll finally hear the seas again. But really, yeah. I'm gonna be down on you, bright up on a new day. Jah love, you protect us. Jah love, Jah love, Jah love, Jah love. I'm blind, cannot see. You are there, your petty evil don't bother me. Playing all the clothes you wear, laugh at me. Pressed and clean, I don't care, I don't care. Right on for the darkness, right on for the darkness. You petty fools, you petty fools, you better have some sympathy. Cause these educated people running lines society, making up the blues, holding back the schools. Lots of greed, lots of temptation. Prove of one thing, we're a hell of a nation. Right on, right on for the darkness. Yeah. Right on, right on, right on, right on, right on. I am blind, I cannot see. We're doing need of justice. Is there really room to demand? Oh man, you know to us. Gain all your children's trust. Right on for the darkness. Right on for the darkness. Right on, right on. Hey now. Hey on now. With a messy with tears through the eyes everyone will see. I can hear the people feel go to the man or everywhere to me. Right on for the darkness. Right on, right on, right on. I am blind and I cannot see. You are there, your petty evil do not bother me. Playing all the clothes you wear, laugh at me pressed and clean, and I don't care. Right on for the darkness. Right on, yeah. Right on for the darkness. Right on, yeah. Right on for the darkness. Right on, yeah. Right on for the dark, yeah. Right on for the darkness. Right on for the darkness. You get down your quarrel every day. You're saying prayers to the devil, I say. Why not try to help one another on the way and make it much easier, a little bit easier. We just can't go on that negative way. Know what I mean? Say prayers for the positive day. New life, new feeling. It's a new time. Yeah, you got to believe it. Oh, what a new day. Right on for the darkness. Right on for the darkness. Right on, right on, right on, right on, right on, right on. Yeah, Curtis Mayfield. Can we clap for ourselves?
Yes.
Yay for us. We're gonna do one more song. John and Amber and Adam and Alex and Patrice and Michelle and Joe, and there's so many people that are helping us do this show. Once again, I get it. You're like, fuck you, Jerry Joseph. You're that self-absorbed that you're gonna do a show when you should be going dark and black and that. I get it, and but again, I don't think there's ever a moment that you black out art, ever. You could question whether this is art or not, but I stand by that. The other thing I encourage you to remember is whatever happens in the next couple of weeks, everybody bleeds out. Everyone. Military, pigs, fucking ICE, and all of us. And so, strength through power, and even more than that, there's strength through God's love. And so I was thinking about that, and we decided that we would do one more cover song. I have to tell you, it's difficult, this song, for a variety of reasons. But when I'm having a shitty time, I listen to Stevie Wonder.
Me too.
Right? Or you too, remember?
I mean,
Back
you too.
in the
yes,
days when
but-
I was like sick and listening to you two at 5 a.m, you were like, you two therapy.
Oh, you know, it's always Stevie Wonder for me.
Yeah?
That was Steve and I's first dance at our wedding. Stevie Wonder.
Really?
I believe
I was there.
you were there.
I remember.
It is such a beautiful. He is
You were
such
their
a
priest at the
beautiful
bar.
soul.
me and the priest.
Yeah.
Father Ben, let's do another shot.
Woo,
Call me
okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Stevie Wonder songs. As a singer, I know that there's a lot of things that I would be a douchebag to try to sing. I don't think I should do live in the city, and there were so many songs, you know, Talk to God, Higher Ground. I could go on and on and on. But I chose this one mostly because if you ever hear the Mary J. Blige version, there's not a whole lot of things in the world that are more badass than that. And thanks again for watching The Happy Book in these not so happy times. Be safe out there, but don't be a fucking afraid. You got to fight back, because they don't give a fuck, man. They will hurt you. And this is the time to stand up and say, for today, Black Lives Matter. And we know the side of God, and we know the side of righteousness, and we love you and a lot. And thank you so much. Okay, Jenny.
It's gonna be great.
There's a lot of chords here. I don't.
Just think of Stevie Wonder's love.
What?
Just think of Stevie Wonder's love. Like
I will.
I went to see him play, and he said, I mean, someone said I love you, Stevie, and he said I love you. And he said it to all of us, which
Yeah.
meant Stevie Wonder loves me.
He does love you.
Yeah.
I saw him. We were at Jazz Fest, and it was his first time there since Katrina, and he comes out, and it was so intense that even Carson Stokes looks at me and goes, "Hold my drugs," and everybody around us goes, "No, Carson, no." And Stevie comes out. This was kind of very early, you know, before the elections, and he goes, I love you, and Obama loves you, and God loves you, and bow back at the bow and the bow and the bow. And I've had very few concert experiences like that. U2, Easter Sunday in Portland, Oregon. Night fucking Joey Ramone died. You know, Johnny.
But yeah, he can bring his show is I cry at it when I see him play, because he is full of joy, and he is my favorite person
He's still
to
here.
listen to. He is here and on the planet, and he is as close to God as you get in terms of music,
I think so too.
in my opinion.
And that's why I thought this song I think this song is, if we don't completely butcher it, or if I don't completely butcher it, it's got all those chords. One thing I've learned a lot about in the quarantine is my jazz chords. Anyways, thanks everybody. Let's do that again. As around the sun, the earth moons is revolving. As rosebuds know to bloom in early May. Just as head knows love's the cure. You can rest your mind assured I'll be loving you always. Down and down the mystery of tomorrow. But in passing we grow older every day. You know what I say is true. I'll be loving all of you, and I'll be loving you always until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. Until the ocean covers every mountain high. Always until the dolphin flies, parrots live and see. Always until we dream of life and life becomes a dream. And none of the dance for nothing. Her acceptance is the way we pay. Do you know that life ain't guaranteed to last forever, day to day? Hey. Another time in the beginning, and the seasons know exactly when to change. Just as kindness, so no shame. Know through all your joy and pain, I'll be loving you always. As today I'm living, but tomorrow can bring me the past I mustn't fear. I know deep in my mind the love of me I've left behind. 'Cause I'll be loving you always till the darkest night and night becomes the day. Always until the trees and seas to just up and fly away. Until the day that 8 times 8 is 84. Until the day is the day that I know more. Till you know, until the day the earth starts turning right to left. Until the earth just falls, the sun denies itself. Until Mother Nature says her work is through. Until the day that you are me and I am you. Until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. Until the ocean covers every mountain high. We all know sometimes heads in trouble can make you wish you're born another time and space. But you bet your life that and twice is double. That God knows exactly where He wanted you to be placed. So make sure that when you say you're in it but not of it, you're not helping make this other place that sometimes called hell. Change the words into truth and change that truth into love and baby. Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren will tell you I'll be loving until the rainbow busts the stars out of the sky. Loving you until the ocean calls us every mountain high. Loving you until the dolphin flies, parrots live in sea. Loving you until we dream of life and life becomes a dream. Be loving you until the day is night, night becomes the day. Loving you until the trees and seas up and fly away. Loving you until the day that 8 times 8 is 8 is 4. Loving you until the day that David is no more. Loving you until the earth starts turning right to left. Loving you until the earth for the sun denies itself. Loving you until dear mother, she says the work is through. Loving you until the day you are me and I am you. Loving you until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. Till the ocean covers every mountain high. Gotta say, till the dolphin flies and parrots live in the sea. Always until we dream of life, life becomes a dream. We all know sometimes life gets in trouble, can make you wish you were born in another time and space. Or you can bet your lifetime's that and twice is double. That God knew exactly where He wanted you to be placed. So make sure when you say you're in it but not of it, you're not helping other places sometimes fail. Change your words into truth, then change that truth to love. Maybe you could finally help me and help yourself. Loving you until the day and night becomes the day. Loving you until the trees and seas up and fly away. Loving you until the day that 8 times 8 is 4. Loving you until the day that there are no more loving the stars out of the sky. Until the ocean covers every mountain high. Until the dolphin flies and parrots live in the sea. Always until we dream of life, life becomes a dream. Always. Thanks a lot for listening. This is the Happy Book. Jenny Conley Jesus. Stephen Gabby Jesus. 8can'twait.org. Don't be scared. Be fucking righteous. Hey now. I'll win. God loves you, baby. God loves you, baby. I know. Right, Tom? God loves you, baby. Always, yeah. Always, yeah. We love you, baby. God loves you, baby. I love yourself. We love you, baby. charge, yeah. Right on for the darkness, always. I love you, always. God loves you, yeah. Always. God love, God love, God love, yeah. God love. God love. Thank you very much, everybody. Watch out for each other and fight the fuck back. We love you very much. It's the Happy Book Dirge. Hundreds of years ago in Ireland, they used to sit around and sing this song during the famine. Did you know that? Jenny Conley, Jesus. Stephen Gary, Jesus. One love. God bless you.